My dog chewed my Apple power cord, and I'm going to show you how to fix it. The first thing you have to do is to cut all the excess rotten stuff off and get all nice clean edges and clean ends of wires. Repairing your MacBook or MacBook Pro power cord isn't what you were hoping to do, but if this does happen, at least you've got something to look at and figure it out. I'll get all that done and spare you having to watch it because I know it's boring. As you'll see, splicing wires is pretty easy. There are actually 4 components to this, not 3. 1, 2, 3. There's a fourth one which is hard to see, and I'll show you that as we go along. This will save you having to buy a new cord. You can't buy the cord alone unless you buy an aftermarket, which doesn't work so well. To get a new cord, you have to buy the power supply as well. So this will save a little bit of money, because this is going to cost nothing but a little bit of heat shrink. So I'm just leaving one end a little bit longer than the other, just to be able to fold back wires, keep them out of the way. You don't need to squeeze too hard on these when you skin them. You just don't want to cut through. You want to leave those I don't know if you can see it. You want to leave this little braided end free and not cut. If you're wondering how I skin these so easily, I've just happened to have done this for a long time. And we'll do the other side. Sometimes you do manage to cut them, but you just redo them, that's all. There, I just cut one. They're really, really fine wires. Okay, so those are all done. Just going to spin them together so the solder holds better. Sorry, I've got such a hoarse voice. It's just so dry, my throat's dried up. So I just coiled this up to keep it from falling off the table while I work. You'll see that there's 2 red leads, and both of them are silver color, so they can go together. First thing I have to do, though, is get my heat shrink up there first. So I want to get my heat shrink up here. I've got a very large one that'll cover the entire job. Push that all the way through. Now I need 4 of these smaller ones for these 4 conductors, and they can go on the individuals. All right, now we'll just connect them color for color. Now it doesn't matter which red goes to which red, they're common. Okay, so we'll solder these right now. And I'm going to trim off the ends. So I'm just going to fold these wires like that, just back on themselves, and then run that heat shrink right over, and using the soldering iron, it's going to heat it up and it'll cover it. I'm only touching the yellow part, I'm not touching the wire itself. And because I folded it over, it gave it a spot to grab, and this won't move once it's done. I'll do the same for the rest of them. So there we've got the 4 connectors, all color to color. Now we've got these braided cables. We have this shielding, which was wrapped all the way down everything. And we have this protective, not dog-proof shielding on the exterior. So we're going to hook up the braiding to the braiding. This is where that extra looseness comes in, because I'm just going to more or less solder them like this, then fold it to fit. So I'm just going to tin the ends. Now for the thing that would probably get you. These are not all braided cables or strands. One of them is not. And this one, even though it looks, they all look about the same, this one is not. It's just a slightly blue color, and it needs to come apart, and it needs to have the plastic taken off as well. And this one won't be as easy. There it went. I'll show you. I don't know if it'll focus on it. Put it behind my hand. Can you see the shininess of the wire right there? And there's the other end of it. And these guys have to go together as well. That's the wrong one. There they are. This can trick you up easy. Put it back together and you wonder, why doesn't it work? This is why. This one little conductor right here. It hardly wants to even twist. It's so little. So it's going to get a heat shrink as well. Although this is massive for this little wire, I'll show you what I'm going to do to hold it in place. Now I'm just going to solder that. So I don't know how well that's been soldered. I can't see it that well. So I'm just going to use a little magnifier and take a look at it. And that's got it. I am going to trim the ends off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this back the same as the others. And I'm going to add just this piece of extra wire. It's not connected to anything. It's just going to take up the slop. Now I can heat shrink it down. Because I've got so that's got it held in place as well. And you can see that that little short wire needs me to bend this stuff out of the way. But I'm going to bend it in a way that it's not going to be too thick for my other piece to fit over. And I'm going to straighten them out. And these can be wrapped with these. Just wrap it like that and just kind of solder lock it in place. So now I'm going to put these guys together and solder it. Sorry I'm blocking it. There we are. I had to hold it. So I'm just going to backflip that wire so that when it's tight, all these wires are loose. Let's just solder that last piece. So I'm just soldering it like that, just to shorten it and to be the strength. Doesn't have to be pretty, just has to hold. And that's got it. So now all these guys I'm going to fold at different lengths so that when I put this last piece of heat shrink over it, it doesn't end up having some big fat spot where it won't go over. Now, one last thing. This had shielding around it all the way down. I'm using some of this tin foil, and I'm going to do the same thing with it. I don't know if there's radio frequency problems. You can see it's coming out here a little bit. That's it. And now I just have to heat shrink that. This heat shrink should hold a lot better than the others because it'll be nice and tight. So that's it. It's not pretty, but I'm not buying a new one either. And it works. So one last test. So that's it. It's a pretty easy job. Really easy to fix this thing. You just need to know about that little wire that looks like one of the grounds, but it's not. So if you want to give it a try, go ahead. I think you'll be happy with it, even though the wire's not perfect. It's not going to cost you another $100 for a power cord and transformer. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, thumbs up.